Julius Caesar once trapped himself between two armies with nowhere to run, and somehow that became his greatest victory. In 52 BC, Caesar had cornered 80,000 Gallic warriors inside the hilltop fortress of Alesia. His men surrounded the city, cutting off all food and escape. It should have been a straightforward siege. Then the scouts came back with news that changed everything. A relief army of 250,000 Gauls was marching straight toward them. Caesar was now the one surrounded. Most generals would have retreated. Caesar built walls, 2 of them. One facing inward to keep the trapped army locked inside, and one facing outward to hold back the relief force. His 60,000 soldiers were sandwiched in between, fighting in both directions at once. For weeks they held. When the outer wall nearly broke, Caesar himself rode to the weakest point in a bright red cloak so every soldier could see him. The relief army collapsed. Alesia surrendered. Caesar did not panic under impossible pressure. He just built the trap bigger. She walked into the Russian court at 14 with nothing. No money, no allies. She didn't even speak the language. And yet 33 years later, she would rule the largest empire on earth. Catherine arrived from a tiny German state to marry Peter, the heir to the Russian throne. From the outside, she looked powerless, a foreign wife, decoration. But while Peter spent his days playing with toy soldiers and mocking her in public, Catherine was doing something else entirely. She learned Russian. She converted from Lutheranism to Russian Orthodoxy. She read Voltaire, studied Russian law, and memorized the names and loyalties of every key military commander in the empire. For over a decade, nobody took her seriously. That was exactly what she needed. When Peter became Tsar in 1762, he lasted 6 months. Catherine had already spent years quietly building trust with the Imperial Guard, the most powerful military force in the country. They declared her empress. Peter signed his abdication. He was dead within days. She was never waiting. She was preparing. 2 of the largest naval fleets ever assembled were sent to conquer Japan, and both times the ocean itself said no. In 1274, Kublai Khan launched his first invasion. Thousands of Mongol warriors crossed the sea toward Japan's shores. The samurai fought hard, but they were outnumbered and outmatched. Then a massive storm rolled in and tore the fleet apart. The Mongols retreated. Khan tried again in 1281. This time he sent 140,000 soldiers across 4,400 ships. It was the largest seaborne invasion the world had ever seen, larger than D-Day. The samurai held the beaches for weeks, buying time for nothing but luck. Then another typhoon hit. It shredded the fleet completely. Thousands drowned. The survivors fled. Japan had not defeated the Mongols. The sky had. The Japanese called it kamikaze, the divine wind. A belief was born that their islands were protected by the gods themselves. That idea would shape Japanese identity for the next 700 years, all the way through World War II. 2 storms changed everything. An emperor blinded 15,000 men in a single afternoon in history called him a genius for it. In 1014, Byzantine Emperor Basil II crushed the Bulgarian army at the Battle of Kleidion. He captured 15,000 soldiers. And then he made a decision that would end a war without firing another arrow. He had 99 out of every 100 men completely blinded. The 100th man lost only one eye, just enough sight to lead the others home. Think about that. He sent the entire Bulgarian army walking back to their own king, a living message. When Tsar Samuel looked out and saw his whole army returning sightless, stumbling, broken, he collapsed. 2 days later, he was dead, likely a stroke brought on by the shock. No prolonged siege, no costly campaign, no second battle. Basil did not blind those men out of cruelty. He did it because he understood something brutal and true. Sometimes the most efficient weapon is not a sword, it is despair. He ruled for nearly 50 years and never lost a war. Did you know one of history's most brutal rulers stopped mid-conquest, walked a battlefield covered in 100,000 of his own victims, and spent the rest of his life trying to undo everything he'd done? His name was Ashoka. He ruled the Maurya Empire, one of the largest empires on Earth, in 260 BC. He built his power through war, fear, and total domination. Then came Kalinga. His armies won. But the victory left over 100,000 people dead and hundreds of thousands more displaced. Ashoka walked through it himself, and something inside him broke completely. He converted to Buddhism and didn't stop there. He banned animal slaughter in the royal kitchens. He built hospitals for animals. He carved edicts into stone across the empire, ordering his governors to treat subjects with kindness and fairness. He replaced the machinery of conquest with something the ancient world had almost never seen before: a government trying to be good. Some historians believe this transformation weakened the empire so severely it never recovered, and almost nobody in the West has ever heard his name. The most powerful sultan in the world was outsmarted by a woman his empire once sold as a slave. Suleiman the Magnificent ruled the Ottoman Empire at its peak. His eldest son, Mustafa, was beloved by the army, feared by enemies, and expected by everyone to be the next sultan. Then one day in 1553, Mustafa was summoned to his father's tent. He walked in. He never walked out. Suleiman had him strangled while watching from behind a curtain. The reason? A letter. A letter that accused Mustafa of plotting treason against his own father. That letter was almost certainly forged. Behind it was Roxolana, an enslaved concubine who had done something no woman in Ottoman history had ever done before. She made Suleiman marry her. And then she spent years quietly destroying Mustafa's reputation to protect her own son's path to power. It worked. Her son took the throne after Suleiman died. Historians later gave him a nickname: Selim the Drunkard. The greatest sultan in Ottoman history was completely outplayed inside his own palace, and the empire never fully recovered. A pharaoh almost died in battle, then convinced the entire world he won. In 1274 BC, Ramesses II rode into one of the worst military traps in ancient history. The Hittite king had hidden thousands of chariots behind the city of Kadesh. Ramesses rode straight into it with almost no escort. For hours, he fought nearly alone, surrounded, outnumbered. By most accounts, he should have died there. Reinforcements finally arrived. Both sides took massive losses. Neither could claim a real victory, so they negotiated and signed what is now the oldest known peace treaty ever discovered. Then Ramesses went home. And this is where it gets remarkable. He hired poets to write epics about his personal bravery. He had the battle carved onto the walls of nearly every major temple in Egypt. Enormous carvings, his face towering over the enemy, his chariot charging alone into thousands. A draw sold to an entire civilization as a glorious triumph. He didn't win the battle, but he absolutely won the story. A man ended a holy war peacefully, and the Pope called it a disaster. Frederick II was one of the strangest rulers in history. Orphaned as a child, he grew up as a ward of the papacy in Sicily, surrounded by Muslim scholars, Jewish philosophers, and Christian priests, all living under one roof. He spoke 6 languages. He kept a traveling zoo with elephants and leopards. He wrote a groundbreaking scientific book on falconry that was centuries ahead of its time. He was also excommunicated multiple times by the very church that raised him. But here is the part that makes no sense. In 1229, Frederick did what 2 centuries of bloody crusades had completely failed to do. He walked into negotiations with the Sultan of Egypt and peacefully secured Christian control of Jerusalem. No battle, no bloodshed, pure diplomacy. The Pope was furious. Rather than celebrate, he condemned the deal, called Frederick a heretic, and launched a military invasion of his lands while Frederick was still away. The church punished a man for ending a holy war too well. The man who saved Western civilization died as a Persian nobleman, and the democracy he rescued is the reason why. In 480 BC, Xerxes arrived with the largest invasion force the ancient world had ever seen. Some estimates put his fleet at over 1,000 ships. Greece had no answer for that. Except Themistocles had a plan. He sent a secret message to Xerxes, pretending to be a traitor. He told the Persian king that the Greeks were about to flee. Attack now in the narrow strait of Salamis before they escape. Xerxes believed him. In those tight waters, Persian numbers meant nothing. The Greek triremes tore the fleet apart. The invasion collapsed. Greece survived. But Athens had a short memory. Once the danger passed, Themistocles became inconvenient, too powerful, too proud, too hard to control. So the democracy he bled for voted to exile him, then hunt him. He fled east, all the way to Persia. The man who saved Greece spent his final years living under the protection of the empire he destroyed. 3 men were thrown out of a castle window from 70 feet up, and all 3 survived. It was 1618 in Prague. Bohemian Protestant nobles had decided they were done with Catholic rule. So they grabbed 3 royal officials, dragged them to a window, and hurled them out. All 3 hit the ground and walked away. Catholics said God had saved them. Protestants said they landed in a dung heap. Both were probably right. It should have been a footnote, a bizarre, embarrassing little moment in a long list of European religious arguments. Instead, it lit the fuse for the 30 Years' War. 30 years of armies tearing across Central Europe. 30 years of plague, famine, and siege. By the end, somewhere between a quarter and a third of every single person living in the Holy Roman Empire was dead. Millions of lives, entire cities emptied. A generation just gone. Because 3 men flew out a window and survived. Europe was so ready to burn that all it needed was one open window to start.